Hi and welcome to this video on creating a Jean-Michel Jarre style track using Rob Papen plugins. Now before I get started, I should point out that this track was created as the result of a remix competition announced by Rob Papen in his weekly live streams on YouTube. Rob has an excellent reputation as a sound designer and is of course the man behind Rob Papen Soundware, a company with a comprehensive suite of virtual instruments and effects. He's authored books on synthesis, and his weekly live streams are a treasure trove of hints and tips on synthesis techniques, and they're well worth watching. The competition offered 3 prizes of Explorer 6, a bundle of 25 Rob Papen products, so well worth winning, and I'm pleased to say that Rob, along with those watching the live stream, selected the track that I'm about to break down for you as one of the winning entries. To begin with, I'll play you the track that Rob created the week before the competition. The only rules were that it should contain the Predator 2 lead sound, but you could take the remix in any direction you liked. The resulting entries were therefore in a wide variety of styles and to a high standard. This is the original snippet created the week before by Rob. So here are the sounds that I decided to keep for the remix to use as the basis for the new track. So let's have a look at the remix I came up with and my thought processes along the way. As I started, I had no idea of the direction that I wanted to take the track, so I removed the tracks that I wouldn't be using by dragging them into a folder at the bottom called Unused. This left me with a bare skeleton, so I started by creating a chord sequence around the Predator 2 lead that had to stay within the mix. I tend to use either a piano sound or a string type sound when doing this, as I find it easier to pick out the chords that way. So what I did was select a blue string 2 patch to work out the chords. Now you're hearing that track now at the tempo that I decided later on in the process, but having decided on the chords, it felt like it already had a Jarre style flavour to it, so it seemed only natural to add a phaser on an insert to the string sound. So as I had a vague sense of direction at that point, I selected a Selena style patch from Predator 2 to add a high sheen to the chords and added the obligatory phaser. I left the kick exactly as it was, which was provided by the raw kick plugin. I added some extra hats at this point, but I left the sound intact as I wasn't 100% committed to the final style at this point. If it wasn't for time constraints, I probably would have been better to come up with a synthesized hat sound or a sample, but I had a competition to enter and time was against me. Next, my attention turned to the bass. I'm pretty sure the bass patch was unchanged from the original piece. I experimented creating a sound using B.I.T, but I went in the end with the original sound, but with a busier pattern based around an octave sequencer style arpeggio pattern. There was no snare sound in the original piece, so I set about adding one. I didn't want to use a sample, so I selected a synthesized snare sound from Punch 2 and set about editing it to get the sort of falling white noise sound that I had in mind. So if I show you that now, go to the advanced settings. As well as sample playback, Punch 2 has a number of synthesis models to create your own custom sounds. Here you can see I started off with a sound using Model 1, and manipulated the noise and the noise filter envelopes to get just the sort of sound that the final result that I really wanted. As the track now seemed to firmly fit into an early Jarre type style, I created a lead from scratch using B.I.T. B.I.T is probably my favourite Rob Papen plugin. The whole synth has been modelled on classic analogue synthesis, and it shows. A lot of Rob Papen synths can create convincing analogue sounds, and I've been lucky enough to own some classic analogue synths as well as using convincing VSTs such as Yuhi's Diva, but in my opinion B.I.T absolutely nails it. The filters respond exactly as I expect them to, and they feel part of the overall sound. The synth has a genuine character to it that I don't find with many VSTs, and it can go from CS80 style patches to warm, rich leads. I often start with an initialized patch and sculpt the sound exactly the way I want it, and this can be hard to do with other VSTs. B.I.T stands for back in time, and while the synth may look straightforward, it has hidden depths, such as the advanced section of the oscillators here. This sound is only using one oscillator, yet it's rich and full. I originally had the cutoff set much lower, which sounds better in isolation, but in order for it to cut through in the track, I had to open the filter up. I originally had B.I.T feeding an external delay, but I opted for the built-in delay for the final mix as it just seemed to sit better in the track. The noise sweeps were left unchanged from the Predator 2 presets that Rob provided, and the wind on the introduction uses the C-Space Waves preset created by Rob. For the effects on the intro I used Predator 2 again, with the patches SFX Modulate Up, Down and Saturn, all from the SFX01 bank. It's worth saying that Predator comes with around 6,000 presets that are organised into categories, so it's easy to get a sound close to what you have in mind with such a large range of sounds. For the closing section I use an arpeggiated sound from Blue 2 Stratos ARP. I don't think I edited the arpeggio pattern, but I might have done. For a little contrast to the solo lead, I added a pan flute style patch from B.I.T. Though the way I played it with a long sustain, it sounds more like a synthy whistle. The arpeggiated sound for the intro and outro was exactly the same as used in the original piece. However, I wanted the ARP to finish on a specific note, so what I did was switch off the ARP settings and recorded the same notes into Cubase so that I could do just that. Finally, I added a percussive choir sound to add a bit of punctuation to the track. This reminds me more of Tangerine Dream than Jean-Michel Jarre, and this was created using the patch Vox Hissing 2 Pad from Predators 2 Ambient 1 bank. The attack on the amp was obviously reduced to give it that percussive effect. So before I play the whole track, I'd like to thank Rob for the competition and all those who took part. I believe there's a playlist being created with all the entries, and I can place a link to it if someone wants to post it in the comments below. Please rate, comment and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. But for now, thanks for watching, and here's the final result. With the exception of the phaser on the string sounds, everything you hear is Rob Papen plugins and their internal effects.